What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Raiders Daily. My name is Steven Michaels. Let's get right into it. We have a big show today. I actually had to stall the show that was supposed to be a few days ago because so much news happened. We were set to do our schedule show, and then, of course, a few other things happened. So we're doing it all in one show right now. So let's get into it. The 2022 schedule is out. It is out. We know the Raiders' schedule. Let's break it down. Now, first of all, we got to talk about, how this schedule is very difficult, especially the first 5 games. Very difficult schedule. I think they said the Raiders have the 3rd hardest schedule in football. But I am here to tell you even though it looks like a tough schedule on paper, there are some things in the Raiders' favor. There are a few things. First of all, as you know, the Raiders do struggle when they play these early games, which are not early to me, but early where they're from on the West Coast, 10 a.m. games. The Raiders typically not that great in those 10 a.m. games. This season, the Raiders don't have a ton of 10 a.m. games. In fact, they play mostly, their late games. They're the 4 o'clock games, I'm going to call them for people that know. Or 1 o'clock for the West Coast folks. So, the Raiders, they got I believe it is 8 4 o'clock games. Let me just count here. So you got the Chargers, week 1. That will be a 4 p.m. game. The Cardinals, week 2. That will be a 4:25 game, 4:25 p.m. Same with the Broncos, same thing, 4:25. Then you got the Chiefs, but that is going to be obviously a Monday Night Football game. So still, you can count that as a late game, right? After that, they have a bye week. Then they play the Texans, which again is a 4 o'clock game. So there's 5 right there. Then they play they go to New Orleans and they go to Jacksonville. 2 teams they should be able to beat, but we'll get there in a second. Those are early games. After that, you have the Colts and you have the Broncos, both 4 o'clock games. Even though the Colts is in Vegas and the Broncos game is in Mile High, it's still a 4 o'clock game. And then, of course, at Seattle, another 4 o'clock game. Then after that, week 13, it's a 4 o'clock game. Then you have 3 weeks of games that were all at night. You have the Chargers, which is on Thursday Night Football. You have the Patriots, my Super Bowl, Belichick versus McDaniels. We'll talk about that in a second. That is a Sunday night game. Then, of course, you have the Steelers game, Christmas Eve. That's going to be, I believe, 8 o'clock game right there. After that, following that game is week 17. They play against the 49ers. That, again, is a 4 o'clock game. And they end the season against Kansas City. We don't know what time that game will be played at. But still, that's a lot of late games for the Raiders. There are not a ton of early 1 p.m., 10 a.m., whatever you want to call it, games on this schedule. So that is the good news here. Out of this entire schedule, you have 1, 2, 3. And depending on that last game against the Chiefs, you have 3 early games this entire season. So that is the bright spot for the Raiders. So let's go through the schedule, first of all. And yes, I will make a way too early prediction on this schedule. Just to let you know, this will not be the final prediction for the schedule, because that's just stupid. Training camp hasn't even started. The Raiders are still making moves in free agency, which we'll get to later. And they're going to continue, by the way, to be making moves in free agency. keep your eyes peeled for what is going to come next, because the Raiders are not done. So anyways, let's start off this season, okay? The Raiders, they start off week 1. I thought it was going to be against the Patriots on, I knew that game would be in prime time, but I thought they would start the year off with that game. But no, regular game, like I said, 4:25 Eastern time against the Chargers. That's going to be a tough matchup right there. Raiders versus the Chargers, a rematch after, obviously, last season, that whole game, the last game of the season where the Chargers should have just took the tie. So that's going to be a big game right there. Not to mention, it's a divisional game. We know if the Raiders want to be kings of the AFC West, you got to win these games. That's going to be a big one. We'll see what happens right there. That's going to be a big, big game to start off the season. I don't put a lot of stock in week 1, but that sure is a big game as they go into LA, which, by the way, remember, it's pretty much a home game for the Raiders. In fact, the Raiders pretty much have 2 home games back-to-back to start the season. LA is pretty much, come on. Raiders versus Chargers in LA, it's going to be all Raider fans. I know the Chargers organization will try to make sure that doesn't happen, but it's just the way it is, and it's always going to be like that. The Raiders own the LA market. Week 2, the Raiders will take on the Arizona Cardinals. We'll see about them. Remember, they fell off at the end of the season last year. And also, Chandler Jones is going to come, and he's going to face his former team here. That could be a big factor in that game. Chandler Jones going up against his former team. After that, week 3, the Raiders play one of those early games against the Tennessee Titans, and pretty much this game, I can tell you right now, will come down to this. Can you stop Derrick Henry? Because that's every Titans game. If you can stop Derrick Henry, you stand a chance of winning. That's what that game will be all about right there. From there, week 4, the Raiders will take on the Denver Broncos in another divisional matchup where the Raiders must win. They have to win these divisional games. A lot of people this offseason have been, in my opinion, just kissing the Broncos' ass over there because they got Russell Wilson, who I don't think he's that much better than Derek Carr, to be honest with you. To be completely honest with you, I don't think he's much better than Derek Carr. We'll see how the Broncos team is this season. It's obviously way too early to tell, but I'm not ready to crown their asses just yet. After that, they will take on the Kansas City Chiefs. This game will be in Arrowhead. This game will be on Monday Night Football. I need to see Derek Carr go into Arrowhead when it counts, when there's fans in the stands, and win. That is something that Derek Carr, he's only done once in his career, and that was during the pandemic. So, he's never beaten the Chiefs and Arrowhead in front of fans. Like a sold-out crowd. It's never happened. Maybe this is the season it happens. Maybe this is it. Because if you want to, like I said, if you want to win your division, you have to go through the Chiefs. You must defeat them. Remember, they don't have Tyreek Hill anymore. They still got a ton of weapons, no doubt about it. But the Raiders have a lot of weapons on offense. The Raiders stand a chance. After that game, by the way, like I said, it's a very tough 5 games right there. It really is. But it is what it is. And then you have a bye week after that Chiefs game, which is probably a good thing, especially if things aren't going well. You want a bye week right there. I usually like to have a bye week later in the season. You know what I mean? This is very early. After 5 games, you get your bye. You would like to have a bye maybe like halfway through the season, week 8, something like that, but whatever. You get the bye week there. After the bye week, coming out of the bye week, you take on the Houston Texans. This is a game, even though it's going to be in Houston, They're still a mess. I think, who's their coach again? Lovie Smith. The Raiders should dismantle the Houston Texans. They should annihilate them. Then they play the New Orleans Saints, another team. They're not. I mean, what are they doing? The Saints. There's another winnable game, and then after that, in Week 9, again, the Saints, early game, but then in Week 9, another early game against Jacksonville. We know the story of Jacksonville, right? This offseason, they've been trying to load up on everyone. They're overpaying everyone. I mean, really overpaying average players. We'll see if that works out for them. I don't think it will. I think the Raiders kick the shit out of them. From there, they will take on the Indianapolis Colts. This is a game where, yeah, they have to go to Indy. We'll see how Matt Ryan is. Matt Ryan has not looked good the last couple of years as a quarterback. Is he broken down? Is his career over? Or does he just need a fresh start? We're going to find out when the Raiders take on the Colts. From that game, they go to Mile High to play the Denver Broncos, and another late game, a 4 o'clock game. And another game where, like I said, divisional game. You know, the Raiders, they have to sweep one of these teams in their division. They have to. I mean, it's going to be almost impossible to sweep the Chiefs, Chargers, and Broncos. But the Broncos, I'm looking at a team where, come on, Raiders, I think you can do it. You can sweep them. You got the Broncos, that is Week 11. From there, Week 12, the Raiders will go to Seattle, play against the Seahawks and against that very loud crowd. Can Derek Carr and the Raiders offense, you know, it's hard to play there. They're very, very loud. Very loud. We'll see what happens, but I think, you know, the Seahawks is another team. You know, what are they doing over there? This is a game where I think the Raiders can win, to be honest with you. From there, this is where we get into the last stretch of the season. Most important games, in my opinion. From there, Week 13, Raiders again at home against the I almost call them San Diego, LA Chargers. That's going to be a big one right there. By the way, I messed up. Sorry, Week 10, the Raiders are playing in Vegas against the Colts. So, just want to throw that out there. They are not going to Indy. They will be playing at home. So, you got right here, Week 13, against the Chargers. Like I said, the Raiders got to split this series against the Chargers. Hopefully they can sweep them, right? Because they play them in Week 1, they play them in Week 13. But another thing here, too, another bright spot, the Raiders are going to actually have back to basically 3 home games. Because they're playing the Chargers in Week 13, which is in LA. We all know. I already told you. Raiders own that market. It's going to be all Raider fans there. From there, they're going to play the LA Rams Thursday Night Football. Another home game. I don't care if they're Super Bowl winning champions. It does not matter. The Raiders own that market. Then from there, in Vegas, the biggest game of the season. McDaniels versus Belichick. This is it. This is what it all comes down to. This is my Super Bowl. They let me down a couple of years ago. Will they let me down again? Can the Raiders defeat the Patriots on Sunday Night Football? The only Sunday Night Football game they have. This will be in prime time. This game, I think, is going to have playoff implications written all over it. Hopefully the Raiders can take care of business and win that game. From there, they will be taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. That game will be in Pittsburgh. But again, that game is going to be on Christmas Eve. That game's going to be a later game. It's going to be at 8 o'clock, 8:15 or something like that. I believe it's on a Saturday, I believe. So that's going to be a big game as well. The Steelers really haven't done much, right? I think that's a winnable game for the Raiders. From there, they will take on the 1st of January, 2023, the 49ers. And that game will be in Las Vegas. The game's in Las Vegas for a reason, by the way. They did not want to put that game in Santa Clara. They did not want it. The NFL did not want that game in Santa Clara because they know the fan bases they fight each other and all that. So they figure in Las Vegas, there'll be a 49er. I mean, it's still going to be there's still going to be fights there, I promise you. But that's going to be a big game. But how good will the 49ers be? That will be the question. And then, of course, the Raiders end their season. We don't know if it will be on January 7th or January 8th. We don't know what time it's going to be at. They're going to end their season against the Chiefs. Could that game, the last game of the season, could that game determine who is the AFC West champion? I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to give you a prediction. My prediction, that game right there will be flexed to a Sunday night game. That game right there will be for the AFC West title. The Raiders versus the Chiefs. The winner will win the AFC West. Mark my words. That's my prediction. Way too early prediction, by the way. But that's what I think is going to happen right there. And I think the NFL thinks that's what's going to happen. That's why that game is happening. That's why the Raiders are playing the Chiefs the last game of the season. That's why they don't know what date it's going to be, because they're thinking the same thing I'm thinking. That game probably could be for the AFC West title. So if it is, they put it on prime time, or it could be for anything. Who knows? It could be for, the third seed or the fourth seed, playoff implications. The game better be better have playoff implications if, for the Raiders. I'm just going to say that right now. If that game, if we are at week 18, okay, and the Raiders have nothing to play for, well then guess what? Josh McDaniels should be fired, because he's the only question mark I have. Unless Derek Carr completely shits the bed, and he is terrible, and it's not Josh McDaniels, but, Derek Carr's throwing interceptions or something, which I don't see happening with all these weapons he has. I just don't see that happening. But, this is it. If Josh McDaniels has to prove he can be a head coach again, I'm not ready just to say, oh, Raiders will be great. They're going to be fine. They're going to win the Super Bowl. Now, I know that's their goal, but Josh McDaniels has to prove himself. Because the last time he was a head coach, it was a disaster. He has to prove himself he can get out of Bill Belichick's shadow and be that head coach. They got the right GM in there. Do they have the right head coach? And that game, like I said, the end of the season, that game better mean something. Hopefully, in a perfect world, it won't mean anything for the Raiders, because the Raiders already clinched the AFC West, and it means nothing, and Derek Carr's not even playing. Nick Mullins is starting because the Raiders clinched the AFC West. I wouldn't mind that either. If it meant nothing because the Raiders already clinched something. Now, if it means nothing because the Raiders suck, then we have big time problems. But I don't see that happening, to be honest with you. And no way. Not with the weapons they have. It's just, I don't see that happening. Again, I'm going to go with my prediction. That game will be for the AFC West title. And I'm going to tell you right now, the Raiders win 11 games this season. 11 to 12 games on this schedule. Yes, I know what you're thinking at home. Those are a couple tough teams, especially the first 5 games, and obviously the last week, the last stretch of games there. But the whole month of December is going to be tough, obviously. But, you still got the Steelers mixed in there. You got the 49ers. We don't really know much about them. What about the Patriots? The Patriots, yeah, they made the playoffs last year, but, they limped into the playoffs. They sucked. Is Mac Jones going to get any better? Or are they going to be a real threat? We don't really know right now. It seems like Buffalo is running away with the AFC East. That's the way it looks like. So maybe that game won't be important. Maybe the Patriots will be eliminated by week 15 of playoff contention. It's impossible to know this early, obviously. And then again, they follow that game up, against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who they don't got nothing going on. So, I mean, there are games on this schedule, yes, that are tough. The Rams game, obviously, going to be a tough game. The Colts game, depending on how Matt Ryan is doing. If he's doing well, it's going to be a tough game. Every game in the AFC West, as you know, is going to be tough. But then when I look at the Saints, the Texans, the Steelers, like I said, even Jacksonville, I'm not really buying into them right now. The Seahawks, these are games that the Raiders, these are winnable games. So if the Raiders can just split with the Chargers, split with the Chiefs, and take care of the Broncos twice, they're going to be in good shape. Or any kind of combination of that. If they can sweep the Chargers, hell, if they can sweep the Chargers and sweep the Broncos, and then, lose one, win one against the Chiefs, they're going to be in really good shape. Really good shape. Either way, yes, third hardest schedule in football. We all get it. But this is a winnable schedule for the Raiders. And that's why I am saying 11 to 12 wins. My way too early prediction for the 2022 NFL season for the Raiders. By the way, just to let you guys know, too, preseason, the Raiders will be playing the Hall of Fame game, which means you're not going to see pretty much anyone, any of the starters, because, it's like the first game. But whatever. It'll still be fun to watch the backups, the undrafted free agents, and all those guys playing against the Jaguars. And it's cool that we get to see the Raiders that early. You know what I mean? The Hall of Fame game, I know it's just preseason, means nothing. You're not going to see any of the starters, but at least we get to see some football. You know what I mean? And I like preseason. I'm one of those people, I don't want to do away with preseason. I know people hate preseason. There's people who think there should be no preseason. I think preseason is actually important. I really do, especially people don't consider this, but that's because they don't know football. Especially when you have a new coaching staff like the Raiders do. Because you want to work out your chemistry with, your play calling, even if it's not the quarterback you're going to be talking to in the headset. The communication on the sidelines for a staff is very, very important. And you can work all that out during preseason. Communication on the sidelines for any kind of football game is way underrated, not talked about enough. Trust me. I coach high school football. It means a lot. If you can get that communication down right, you know what you're doing, everyone's in sync with each other, you will be more successful. That's why I think preseason is important, especially for a team like the Raiders who have a brand new staff. It is important. I'm telling you right now, it is. I don't care what Skip Bayless tells you. That guy doesn't know football. He doesn't know sports. I don't care what any guy tells you who has never played or anything football related, just knows how to talk on TV. I don't care what they tell you. I promise you, you can ask any player, any coach, and any level. If communication's important on the sidelines, they're going to tell you it's very important. So anyways, let's get to the other news. The other big news was the Raiders traded wide receiver Bryan Edwards. I was not that big of a fan of this trade, to be honest with you. The Raiders get a 5th round pick. They send a 7th round pick. But I wanted to see Bryan Edwards this season. I felt like this would be probably, if he sucked, it would have been his last season either way. But, I really felt like he was getting there. You know what I mean? He might be a late bloomer. And I thought maybe this season would be the year he shines. But unfortunately, the coaching staff, they didn't like him. They didn't think he was that great. So they moved on from him. But what they did do is something that I was advocating for on our free agency shows. A player, a wide receiver who I wanted the Raiders to bring in. I talked about it on the free agency show. A guy who I think is criminally underrated. A guy who Josh McDaniels knows well from his time in New England. He got to see him with the New York Jets. The Raiders go out and sign Keelan Cole. Keelan Cole is a guy not like known as like the fastest guy in the world, but he does have some speed. You know, he can stretch the field when he wants to. He does it a lot. This guy gets open. And this guy, he is very underrated. This guy has only played for really bad teams. And Josh McDaniels knows that. He was with the Patriots. He gets to see Keelan Cole at the Jets twice a season. He knows this guy's underrated. Keelan Cole is very underrated. This is why I wanted the Raiders to sign him in free agency, and they actually did. I mean, usually that never happens. You know, when you look at the free agency market and you say, oh, I wish, you know, that the Raiders would sign this guy. It never happens, right? Never. This time it actually happened for me. They actually signed the guy who I wanted. And let's just go over Keelan Cole's career, first of all, okay? 2017, he's with the Jets. Jacksonville. That's where he starts, right? This guy has 748 yards receiving with the Jacksonville Jaguars. The following year, 491. Remember, they don't have a quarterback over there. We're talking 2017, 2018. I don't remember who the quarterback was at that point. But I'm sure, what was it, Blake Bortles? Someone who sucks, I can promise you that. And then 2019, 361 yards, so his production went a little bit down. But then in 2020, he gets 642 yards for Jacksonville. He gets traded to the Jets. 2021, now he's with the Jets. And remember, they don't have a great quarterback. They had a rookie quarterback playing last season. And this guy still managed to get almost 450 yards receiving. So, I mean, this guy's pretty good. His first down percentage, by the way, just last year with the Jets was 71.4%. That's how many times he would catch a first down. That's what the Raiders need. They need to move the chains. They really do. This is a guy who can get open. He does get open. Like I said, he's not like a huge, he's not like a Henry Ruggs player. He doesn't have blazing speed. He doesn't. But he's a guy who can get open, get down the field. Maybe, he doesn't get many huge passes. Like last season, I think he had 2 catches that were over 40 yards. But he had 7 catches that were over 20 yards. And like I said, his first down rate is really good. Especially last season. I'm telling you, Keelan Cole is criminally underrated. He has not got to play with any good quarterbacks his entire career. He's had bad quarterback after bad quarterback, bad team, went to another bad team. Now he's with the Raiders. You are going to see a guy, okay, if I'm right, unless this guy, unless it wasn't the quarterback's fault. And it wasn't the team's fault. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think you're going to see a guy in Keelan Cole who, he got 450 yards last year. I guarantee you he gets almost 1,000 yards this season with the Raiders. I will guarantee it. He'll at least get 800 yards. That's my, right there. That's my under. 800 yards he will get as a member of the Raiders. Remember, in 2017, he had 748 yards with Jacksonville. Now he's playing with Derek Carr. And look at the other guys he has. Hunter Renfrow, Devontae Adams. All those guys. Keelan Cole's going to get open. He's going to eat. I'm telling you right now, you got to watch out for this guy because he is going to be good. He is going to be good. And the Raiders got him cheap. They got him on a 1-year deal. I have a feeling he's going to be with the Raiders more than 1 year, though. Because he's going to stand out and they're going to want to re-sign him. I think he ends up getting a contract extension. I think he's going to be a big part of the Raiders going forward for at least the next couple of years. This guy, like I said, drafted 2017. It's not like he's that old. It's not like, he's been playing for 10 years already. He played on some crappy teams. Now he's finally on a good team. And that's why I wanted the Raiders to get him so badly, because I because I live in Massachusetts, obviously, I see a lot of Jets games and Patriot games. But every time the Jets play the Patriots, I'd always see Keelan Cole. And I would see they play a ton of Jets games here. I see Keelan Cole out there, and I always say, I watch him, and I see him get open, but the quarterback doesn't get to him. It's really frustrating. Now he's going to get open, and he's going to get the ball. I'm telling you right now, if Derek Carr can spread that ball around to everyone, not just throw to Davante Adams every single play, you don't want to do that. I know it's going to be hard not to. I know it's easier said than done. I mean, when you played college with a guy, your natural instinct is going to be to throw him the football. I mean, just to let you know. So you can't really blame Derek Carr for that, but he's got to somehow mentally block that out because he has all these other weapons. He knows he has Hunter Renfrow, who's, Hunter Renfrow, the best, in my opinion, the best route runner in football. So you have Hunter Renfrow, you have Davante Adams, you have Demarcus Robinson for the red zone, and now you have Keelan Cole. Yes, I like Bryan Edwards. I think, he was just about to, he didn't reach his potential by no means, but I wanted to see him one more year. I really did. I wanted to see him one more year this season, but I didn't get to see that. But if you would have told me, hey, I'll give you Keelan Cole for Bryan Edwards, I'm taking Keelan Cole every single time, just to let you know. Now, I hope Bryan Edwards does great in Atlanta. I really do. Like I said, I think he can be I think he can be a very good wide receiver, Bryan Edwards. But Keelan Cole, I think, can be a great wide receiver on a good team. Not on Jacksonville. Not with the New York Jets. You put him with a good quarterback. The Raiders already have a good quarterback. With a good offense, that guy's going to shine. And you're going to, mark my words, you're going to hear a lot of Keelan Cole touchdown this season. Mark my words. The Raiders are loaded when it comes to the wide receivers. Loaded. And they're just going to keep, like I said, they got to get better on defense. I think they got to bring in another safety because I don't trust Jonathan Abram. This is something we'll talk about on next week's show. But just for a little teaser, I don't trust Jonathan Abram. The Raiders got to bring in another safety. They also got to bring in some other guys to rush the quarterback. And also, what's going to happen with Clinton Farrell? What's going to happen with him? I mean, as far as I heard, the Raiders aren't going to put him at DE. He might even be playing some outside linebacker this season. They don't know what to do with this guy. I know the Raiders probably would trade him, but his contract is an issue. And that's the same thing, by the way. All those guys who didn't get a fifth-year option, they're all disposable. If there's a player out there that the Raiders like, and the Raiders have to shop one of those guys, Jonathan Abram, Josh Jacobs, Clinton Farrell, they will. I'm just warning you, they will. But we shall see. I don't think it would be smart to shop Josh Jacobs, but although the guy is injured every single year, and the Raiders did just draft a running back who looks phenomenal. Hopefully that can translate into the NFL and he can be a beast like he was in Georgia. I'm talking about Zeus. Hopefully that all works out. But Josh Jacobs with Zeus, they have so many running backs. Brandon Bolden, Abdullah. There's no way they can keep all of them, right? And listen, I'm going to say this too. I would not be shocked, by the way, if the Raiders don't bring in yet another wide receiver. I wouldn't, just because the other guy they have, besides Robertson, is Mac Hollins. I don't know if Mac Hollins is going to be a big difference maker. I see him more as a guy maybe returning kicks. I don't know if he's going to be out there as a wide receiver. Now, they don't need another wide receiver, that's for sure. But this team loves wide receivers. I'm just telling you, don't be shocked if they end up signing another one. But we shall see. I can tell you one thing. This team is not done building, and that's a good thing. This team is going to be competitive. Like I said, right now, my way too early prediction is 11 to 12 wins. I think this team has a shot to win the AFC West title. All right, guys, that is it. My name is Steven Michaels. If you like this show, please support the show. You can on Venmo at the Raiders Daily Podcast. And I have, when I upload this to YouTube, there's links there too as well. You know what to do. All right, I love you all. I will see you next week. This is the Raiders Daily.